again to Scent with Love from Rita. I'm Rita, and this is the card we're going to be working on today. It's the third in my series on using the stamp set Beautiful Day and some of the other elements that I received in my kit. I'm going to be showing you some really beautiful techniques on how to get that soft pink flower and soft leaves, and then this gorgeous look on the label and the sparkly love sentiment. Again, we're going to be using the silver baker's twine, so some of the same elements, but a completely different look. So bringing in what we had used before was the butterfly on Beautiful Day. And today we're going to be using this really beautiful big stamp of a flower. It has some gorgeous look to the petals, which we will be working with in an artistic way, but using our ink pads. And I'm just going to bring in the other set that I'm using. It's called Birthday Blossoms. And I wanted this leaf to go with our flower. And I wanted these tiny little flowers here to give us this beautiful look on the cutout label. So you can see that soft pink flower there. This is going to be our cutout love that we've used before on our Sunshine Wishes. And this time we're using the sparkling glitter paper in white, dazzling white. And then the lots of labels, again, we've used this before to be using a couple of stamps. And this one is Pink Pirouette and Flirty Flamingo, Pear Pizzazz, and Old Olive. We've cut our Pink Pirouette in 7.5 by 6.5. Starting with Pink Pirouette, we will be taking that piece we cut off of our Pink Pirouette cardstock and that little floral for the background floral. I really love this little stamp. It does so many beautiful techniques. Like I said, you can use Versamark on it as well, or use it with tone on tone, getting it kind of off the paper. You're going to want to have a scratch paper for that. Okay, that should be good for that. Close up on that. And now removing that stamp and putting on our floral stamp using Pink Pirouette again. And the way that I had it on this card is up in the top part of the cardstock. So this one is off the cardstock and this one is on, but more to the left corner. So keeping the petal on the card, the leaf I mean, and some of the petals off the card, I'm going to stamp it right here. Again, artistically, the fact that it flows off the card, it brings your eye across the cardstock, kind of like a canvas when things are flowing in and out. And this time, the leaf down, and you're bringing the flower down, and it flows really nicely and artistically. Now the leaf from the other stamp set, and that was Birthday Blossoms. And we're going to stamp that leaf in Pear Pizzazz. There you go. And again, the flowing in and out. We want some of these leaves to be off of that cardstock, close to the flower and off of that cardstock. And this one off of this way, up as close to the flower petal as possible. Now down into the card. I want to get that kind of almost around the flower as if it truly is with the flower. We want to open up Flirty Flamingo. And this is where the fun begins. Being an artist, here I am again with my brushes. Now this is going to be a technique you might not have seen before. We're actually going to paint the ink onto these flowers and leaves. And how we're going to do that is I have a more flat brush here and a pointier brush. It's not super important, but to try to get in between these petals. And I'll just do a close-up of what I'm going to do. So starting with the darker color, that would be our Flirty Flamingo. You can rub a little off to begin with to get the feel. We want to get that up in where the petal would be hitting a shadow. Okay. Again, brushing off a little. Where the shadow would come. Remember that the vellum is going to be lightening this. So we don't want it too light. Whatever, shadowing you're doing, whatever like yellow or red or whatever pink color, you would like to have this darker tone in where the shadow of the flower would go. Okay, like that. And up in here, where this hits there, shadowing will all come together in a moment. This one right in here would get it twice, like that. Bring in the softer of the two pinks, and that is our pink pirouette that we've been using all along. We'll bring in the softer tones and blend these. Now leaving a little bit of the lighter of the cardstock on the tip of that petal is going to show through beautifully on that vellum and give the highs and lows of our coloring here. So you can be following me a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so you can see that I've basically filled in the flower with the lights and the darks, and then leaving this highlighted area being lighter. It doesn't have to be perfect because the vellum will be covering over that. Now with the pink brush, what I did end up doing was just using the one brush. I did the darker in by the petals, and then I just blended and started with the pink. So you actually could just use one brush for the pink flower, and now I'm going to be going on to the leaf. What we will be doing is bringing in the darker tone of the green, which is our old olive, and we want to just start where it would be darker, and that would be in the middle of the leaf where all those veins are coming together. And again, this is not something that people are going to be staring at to see just how good of a job did you do here. And then bringing in our pear pizzazz just to fill in. Okay, and even leaving some lighter spots here. Bring this card up higher. Now, there's a spot right here that actually the pad went over it. I have finished all of my painting with my ink pads and covered that leaf there. Over that spot was the mistake. And now I'm going to bring in my vellum, which was 1/4 inch larger, so that I can have that glued to the back of the card. Make sure that it's all nice and even and covering well. And then we can go ahead and glue that down. We'll just put some glue dots here. along this edge. That's the best way to do it. It'll keep it all nice and straight for us. And you do one final check before you actually push that down. Make sure all your edges are right. Okay, now we're going to take that embossing buddy over our vellum. And that's really important so that we get a clear, crisp image and no other fingerprints or marks on there. And then taking our Versamark and our flower again, ink up that Versamark on there nicely, coating all of that. And then with the clear block, we should be able to see our image clearly through there. Will help me to know where my flower should go. I start with the two flowers. A nice image of Versamark on both of those. Whatever image you're using, try to use some sort of a point on the image that you can get down there. So here's my leaf. And get it on there square. And again, this is art, so it doesn't have to be exact. It's the image over the flower that's going to have that stained glass appearance. And then we'll go with our leaves. Starting here on the end. Now we are ready to put our clear embossing powder on there, and using our heat gun. You want to get that heat gun good and hot so that it's not on the vellum for too long. Here is that subtle, beautiful look. You can do white as well. And I'm just going to pull in my love sentiment that we cut out from the Dazzling Diamonds glitter paper. But you've seen me do this technique on my first card, and that is that I sometimes like to layer it. On this card that I originally made, you can see this is glued flat to the label. So I wanted to share with you a way that you can glue this Dazzling Diamonds onto the layered love that I took from the Whisper White, and that is with this adhesive sheets that we sell in the catalog. I just took a little piece of it and I adhered it to the back of the Dazzling Diamonds, as you can see there when I cut it out, and you can just peel it off and stick it onto there. Super simple. All right, so I wanted to share that. And then in the beginning, I had shown the lots of labels, and it will be the fourth one in that we're going to use to cut that out. So then this is going to be adhered on there. The first one that I did was just glued flat, and this one I'm using that technique I shared with you where you layer to give it a thicker look. If you can see that. Again, our little label. All right, and we'll be using the dimensionals on the back of this. There's that flowing of the card, so this is flowing down and then down to the label. That's how you know where to go with your label. When you're making a card, it should, your eye should flow. So as of right now, nothing is glued down here, but I'm going to put a little glue dot here and here, because you're never going to see them once we put pearls. And I'm going to put a glue dot behind this love label, smoothing it from the top down. Okay, there. See the color better than if it was floating up too high. We need something to draw our eye over to the love. So this is how we're going to tie it close to the label. but the sparkle of this ribbon draws in the eye. Baker's twine is easy to work with. I like the sparkly one of this silver. It just adds a little pizzazz. And we're also going to use a glue dot with that, right where that comes across there. Squeeze that in there. See how pretty? The last element is just our pearls, where the pollen would be. And that gives it a real pretty, soft, feminine look. And the tininess of it is just so lovely. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then a little bit bigger pearl on those two curves of our label. And that is our card. You see the bigger pearls here and the littler pearls. So I hope you really liked this card. I hope that you will try the technique of using the ink from the ink pad to actually paint onto your flower or whatever it is you're using. I've really enjoyed sharing these techniques with you today. I'm glad that you could join me again. I hope that you're enjoying this series with the Beautiful Day stamp set. And we have one more in our series. I just would love to have you join me again. Subscribe, click on the little bell so that you get notifications of when I do any more of my cards. And also if you need any of these supplies or any other supplies from Stampin' Up, please click on the links below or go to my website at Sent with Love from Rita. Have a great day and God bless you. Bye-bye.